Part 60. Pirate Plant Fruit. Author, Lee A Dream. Chapter 631. Go and bury our dead brothers together. The orangutan roared angrily and threw 2 bundles of time bombs at the same time. The 2 deep-sea shark frog team members and the captain had nowhere to escape. Boom, 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 boom. 2 huge explosions sounded, and the 2 members of the deep-sea shark frogman team and the team leader were completely wiped out. At this point, the deep-sea shark frogman team, including the captain, totaling people, was completely destroyed. The orangutan looked at the wreckage of the 3 enemies floating in the sea and said, "Finally, I got my revenge in the command room of the Ghost Heavy submarine." Shoot and the crew all saw the complete destruction of the deep-sea shark frogman team. Report, Master Shoot. All the deep-sea shark frogman teams dispatched by us were killed in the battle, a crew member reported. How could it be like this? Zawit's usually calm face also became ugly. A crew member quickly asked Zyut, "Lord Zyut, what should we do next?" Zyut looked at Mont Blanc, Kulik, and Saran in the sea. "Can our anti-ship torpedoes hit them?" Shuit suddenly asked. "If an anti-ship torpedo is fired, it can also hit them. But the bomb part of the anti-ship torpedo needs to hit the hull with a high impact force to detonate," the crew member said. "Do you mean to just rely on the speed of anti-ship torpedoes to hit them? In that case..." Shuit was now faced with the question of whether to attack with anti-ship torpedoes. The anti-ship torpedo itself needs to encounter a violent impact to detonate. However, the anti-ship torpedo itself is also very fast. If it hits the target, even a human-sized body will be killed or injured. Okay, now we only have this effective weapon. Use anti-ship torpedoes to attack. Shuit gave the order. Yes, the order was quickly conveyed to the torpedo room. The crew in the torpedo launch room began to use 2 quadruple anti-ship torpedo tubes to target Mont Blanc, Kulik, and Saran in the sea. At this time, the orangutan looked at the Ghost Heavy submarine and said, "Boss, what should we do next?" Mont Blanc Kulik looked at the Ghost Heavy submarine, and he said decisively, "Most of our next battles will be in the sea, so if this is the case, it is impossible for us to successfully carry out the next battle without eliminating the threat posed by the submarine. So, let's use time bombs to destroy the submarine together." "Okay," Sanji said together with the apes and orangutans. "Since the enemy is in hot pursuit, there is no need to escape at all." Although the main members of the battle just now, Mont Blanc, Kulik and Sanji, had survived, more than 30 crew members of the Saruyama Alliance army had been killed, leaving only about 20 people. Not only the powerful Sanji and orangutan, but even the crew members of the Saruyama Alliance army were filled with indignation and wanted to avenge their comrades who died just now. Mont Blanc, Kulik, and Sanji carried time bombs and began to swim towards the Ghost Heavy submarine. At this moment, the heavy submarine Ghost suddenly pointed its bow at them, and 2 hatches suddenly opened on the bow, revealing 2 quadruple anti-ship torpedo launch tubes. 2 quadruple anti-ship torpedo launch tubes were aimed at everyone in the Saruyama Allied forces. "What are they going to do?" Sanji said, looking at the quadruple anti-ship torpedo tubes that suddenly appeared. "Everyone here has a bad feeling." Suddenly, an anti-ship torpedo was fired from a quadruple anti-ship torpedo tube. This 1-meter diameter 5-meter long anti-ship torpedo swam rapidly in the direction of the Saruyama Allied forces under the propulsion of the propeller. "Get away quickly!" Mont Blanc Kulik shouted quickly. Sanji, the orangutan, and the others quickly ran away. However, some of the slower-moving Saruyama United Army crew members were unable to dodge. Boom! A crew member of the Saruyama Allied forces was hit by an anti-ship torpedo. He was hit by this high-speed anti-ship torpedo and floated directly in the sea. The anti-ship torpedo continued to swim, and finally reached a submarine rock in the distance. Rumble! The anti-ship torpedo exploded violently. The rapid spread of this violent explosion through the sea water allowed everyone on the Saruyama United Army to hear it clearly. It seems that their anti-ship torpedoes need to be hit with huge force before they can be detonated, Mont Blanc Kulik said. They would actually use anti-ship torpedoes to deal with us, the orangutan said in shock. Next, one after another anti-ship torpedoes were fired from the two quadruple anti-ship torpedo launchers on the bow of the Ghost. Everyone in the party hurriedly avoided the anti-ship torpedoes fired one after another. For example, Mont Blanc, Kulik, and Sanji were able to successfully avoid these anti-ship torpedoes with faster movements. But some other Saruyama Allied Forces crew members were not so good. Many of them were killed by anti-ship torpedoes. However, the 8 anti-ship torpedoes in the 2 quadruple anti-ship torpedo launchers will eventually be consumed. After all 8 anti-ship torpedoes were fired, the 2 hatches were closed again. The 2 quadruple anti-ship torpedo launch tubes started loading new anti-ship torpedoes again. Take advantage of the opportunity and quickly install a time bomb on the submarine, Sanji said. The Ghost heavy submarine itself lacked the ability to counterattack these human opponents after launching the anti-ship torpedoes. Although it is propelled very quickly by propellers, its steering flexibility is not very high due to its huge size. Mont Blanc Kulik and Sanji, the orangutans, Sauron, the king of ninjas, and more than a dozen surviving members of the Aru Mountain United Army crew members all arrived on the back of the Ghost heavy submarine. This submarine seems to be very strong. Zoro scratched the Ghost's hull with his katana. The outermost layer of the Ghost's hull is made of special hardwood to reduce resistance. After the hardwood is cut open, there is a thick steel hull inside. Mont Blanc Kulik looked at the thick steel hull and said, "If we want to blow up this place, we need to concentrate our own time bombs." Then he shifted his attention to the tail area of the Ghost. He walked over and saw a huge propeller at the tail of the Ghost that was constantly rotating to generate propulsion in the seawater. "It might be possible if we attack here," Mont Blanc Kulik said while looking at the huge propeller that was constantly rotating. After another urgent discussion, everyone finally decided to place time bombs near the propeller of the Ghost and in the center of the back of the boat. Pirate Plant Fruit. Author, Lee A Dream. Chapter 632. At this time, he was in the command room of the Ghost heavy submarine. Shuit asked the crew urgently. "Where did they go just now?" Shuit asked quickly. "Those enemies seem to have reached the middle and rear part of the Ghost's hull," a crew member said. Reporting to Mr. Hewitt, "Those people from the Saruyama Alliance seem to have arranged something on the back of our ship," another crew member hurriedly reported. After the crewman's report, Hewitt's expression changed drastically. "On the back of our ship?" Hewitt had a very uneasy thought. The hatches of this heavy submarine are highly sealed. Even if they can find it from the outside, they will not be able to open those hatches and enter here. Just now, when the members of the deep-sea shark frog team were fighting with the Sarushan United soldiers, Shuit and the others were watching. Obviously, the people of the Saruyama Alliance have explosive weapons. What Shuit and the other crew members were most worried about was that people from the Saruyama Alliance army were planting bombs. "Now speed up and try to get rid of them," Shuit quickly gave the order. Obey. After receiving the order, the crew began to maneuver the Ghost to further speed up. On the back of the Ghost's hull, Mont Blanc, Kulik, and Sanji, who were placing time bombs, felt the speed of the heavy submarine under their feet accelerate significantly. They speeded up, and it seems that our intentions were exposed, Mont Blanc Kulik said. "We need to quickly arrange the time bomb," said the ape. Everyone successively arranged 2 dense time bomb placement areas near the propeller of the Ghost heavy submarine and in the middle of the back of the hull. "Okay, everyone, retreat quickly. But you have to leave from both sides," Mont Blanc Kulik said after placing the time bombs. Everyone quickly swam away from the back of the Ghost heavy submarine from both sides. The reason for this is because it is easy to be sucked in by the propeller from the front or the rear. Mont Blanc Kulik, the ape, the orangutan, Sanji, Zoro, and the Ninja King all looked at the Ghost heavy submarine that continued to move forward. Those time bombs were set for 1 minute, which was enough time for everyone to leave. And because the Ghost heavy submarine travels quickly, it can open more safe distances. On the back of the Ghost heavy submarine, those time bombs were stuck to the back of the hull with a special adhesive that could also be used in seawater. More than 10 time bombs were placed near the stern propeller and in the middle area of the back of the ship. These time bombs are very powerful individually, and their combined power is even more astonishing. Tick-tock, 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 tick-tock. The hands on the time bombs are constantly approaching the final moment. The time bombs finally reached their final moment of explosion. Boom, 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 boom. The time bombs exploded in groups. Mont Blanc, Kulik, and Sanji, who had already distanced themselves from the Ghost heavy submarine, all saw this spectacular explosion. "What a powerful explosion," Mont Blanc Kulik said with emotion. Violent explosions occurred in the middle of the back of the hull of the Ghost heavy submarine and at the rear near the propeller. A violent explosion occurred on the heavy submarine, especially near the propeller at the rear, affecting the huge propeller. The Phantom's propellers suffered devastating damage and quickly stopped rotating. Without the propeller at the tail, the Ghost heavy submarine is completely unable to move. "It seems that the other party has indeed been severely damaged," Sanji said, looking at the Ghost heavy submarine. The heavy submarine Ghost not only suffered heavy damage to its tail propeller. The heavy submarine's middle back area was also detonated by the explosion just now, and a huge crack opened. A lot of seawater poured in from there. The Ghost heavy submarine began to sink at an accelerated rate. In the command room of the Ghost heavy submarine, Hewitt and the crew of the Bellamy pirates felt the Phantom's violent tremors. "What's going on? Could it be that the bomb planted by the enemy really exploded?" Hewitt said in shock. Reporting to Master Hewitt, the Phantom's stern propeller and the middle part of the back of the hull were severely damaged by the explosion. A large amount of seawater poured in from the damaged area, and the Phantom is sinking at an accelerated rate. A crew member in charge of the control made an urgent report. Hewitt could also feel that the heavy submarine was sinking at an accelerating rate. "Okay, separate the area filled with seawater with a waterproof hatch," Hewitt quickly ordered. The order was conveyed quickly. The damaged tail of the Ghost and the cabin near the middle part of the back of the hull quickly closed the watertight hatches. The heavy submarine finally stopped sinking after being filled with a large amount of seawater. The Ghost stopped sinking, but was unable to move and just floated in the sea. Hewitt in the Ghost's command room looked outside through the tempered glass. Now the heavy submarine was completely at a standstill. The heavy submarine Ghost is now trapped in the sea. The explosion just now not only destroyed the giant propeller at the stern of the Ghost, but also destroyed the rudder. This way the Ghost could neither advance nor turn. In this state, the Ghost is waiting to die at sea. This is not possible now. In this situation, we can only float up. Quickly drain the seawater from the Phantom's diving chamber and let the submarine float to the surface. Hewitt quickly issued the order. After receiving the order, the crew quickly maneuvered the Ghost to drain the seawater from the diving chamber into the sea outside. The heavy submarine began to surface. Gradually, the Ghost began to rise from more than meters below the sea surface, and reached more than meters from the sea surface, more than meters from the sea surface, from the sea surface more than 100 meters, tens of meters away from the sea. Mont Blanc, Kulik, and Sanji also saw this heavy submarine floating up and down. "Hurry up and catch up," Mont Blanc Kulik said quickly. Mont Blanc Kulik, Sanji, Zoro, the Ninja King, the orangutan, and the remaining dozen or so Aru Mountain United Army crew members all swam up. The Ghost continued to rise, and finally broke through the sea again. The 90-meter-long heavy submarine is now floating on the sea like a whale rising to the seashore. After the Ghost successfully floated to the surface, Hewitt in the command room quickly gave orders to the surrounding crew members. "You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Pirate Plant Fruit. Author, Lee A. Dream. Chapter 633. You can search for Pirate Plant Fruit popular in Baidu to find the latest chapters. Okay, get out of here now. We can't stay here any longer. Hood hurriedly ordered. Many crew members and Hewitt hurriedly left the command room. The broadcast inside this heavy submarine also ordered the entire crew to abandon the ship quickly. The Ghost submarine has a total of 120 crew members, 18 of whom are the former deep-sea shark frogman team. There are more than 100 people left. On the back of the heavy submarine Ghost, a hatch was opened. A large number of crew members came out to escape. The crew of these Bellamy pirates are all proficient in water, and they can swim and escape through the surrounding sea. Instead, hiding in this heavy submarine is equivalent to staying in an iron coffin. Finally at the surface of the sea. At this time, on the sea not far from the Ghost heavy submarine, Mont Blanc and everyone swam to the sea one after another. Because the battle just now also consumed a lot of time, the breathing masks worn by everyone also needed to be supplemented with air. On the sea, Zoro, Sanji, the king of ninjas, and the apes all took off their breathing masks from their faces. Hutcha Hucka the ape took a big breath of air. What a breath of fresh air, the orangutan said, taking a deep breath of air. It feels like I have lived in the sea for decades, Sanji said with a big breath. Staying in the sea for so long is really tormenting, Sauron gasped. The Ninja King just took off the breathing mask. This man from the Wano Country Ninja Organization has undergone a lot of underwater training since he was a child, as well as various trainings in holding his breath in the dark, even if he is allowed to hold his breath for a few minutes. Mont Blanc also took off his breathing mask, and he was gasping for air. The crew of more than a dozen members of the Ape Mountain United Army also took off their breathing masks and took a deep breath of fresh air. They looked at the heavy submarine Ghost. This heavy submarine floating on the sea is now having a large number of crew members coming out of the hatch inside. Do these guys want to escape? The ape said as he looked at the enemies. My revenge is not over yet, the orangutan said angrily. Let's go on together, said Mont Blanc. Okay, many Sarasama Alliance crew members shouted in unison. Everyone in the Saruyama United Army, Zoro, Sanji, and the King of Ninjas all swam towards the heavy submarine Ghost that floated to the surface. On the back of the heavy submarine of the Ghost, a large number of Bellamy Pirates crew members escaped from it. Don't even think about escaping. Suddenly a majestic voice sounded. Mont Blanc rushed over. The crew of the Bellamy Pirates saw a burly man with a chestnut head swimming to the side of the Ghost, and then he jumped onto the back of the Ghost with a sudden jump. Oops! The crew members of the Bellamy Pirates all realized that something was wrong. Mont Blanc was in a complementary fighting posture with his arms spread out and back. Okay, now let's have a duel between men. Mont Blanc roared angrily. This man who has always been calm is now full of blood and passion. The Mont Blanc family's unique fighting skills, chestnut boxing technique. Mont Blanc himself wielded his powerful fist and aimed at the members of the Bellamy Pirates and attacked them violently. Chestnut boxing combines straight punches, uppercuts, leg kicks, somersaults, headbutts and other fighting skills and postures together. It combines rigidity and softness, and is excellent in offense and defense. In close combat, this group of Bellamy Pirates was defeated. Members are helpless. What a powerful punch! This guy seems to be the boss of the Sarushan United Army. It hurts me. Under the fierce attack of Mont Blanc's chestnut boxing technique, these members of the Bellamy Pirates were beaten to a pulp. Litzy boxing technique heavy hammer Tianling Gai. Mont Blanc clenched his fists together and hit a member of the Bellamy Pirates on the top of his head. The head of this member of the Bellamy Pirates was hit so hard from above that his head shook violently. The damage was comparable to a hammer weighing several tons hitting a person's head. The Bellamy Pirates member suffered severe head injuries, and blood flowed rapidly from his nostrils. What? The member of the Bellamy Pirates, who had suffered a fatal blow, fell on the back of the ghost and then rolled into the sea. It is impossible to save after receiving this fatal injury. Some other members of the Bellamy Pirates saw this terrifying situation, and they were all terrified. Mont Blanc stood before them like a grim reaper. Litzy boxing continuous punch. Mont Blanc punched out his fists in rapid succession. In this state, he continuously punched several punches every second. It was dizzying to see, even though he was only attacking with 2 fists. This is very similar to Luffy's rubber machine gun. But the distance is shorter. After all, not everyone can extend their arms like Luffy. However, when Mont Blanc uses consecutive punches, his feet also move together, which makes him more flexible in his attacks. Except for Mont Blanc, everyone else also attacked bravely. Ape boxing heavy punch rampant. The orangutan punched a member of the Bellamy Pirates hard on the head. Accompanied by the cracking sound of his face cracking, the member of the Bellamy Pirates fell backwards somersaulting. After the orangutan knocked down the member of the Bellamy Pirates, he waved his fists and attacked the other members of the Bellamy Pirates. These members of the Bellamy Pirates who escaped from the ghost did not carry 2 powerful weapons themselves, they were only able to fight with their own daggers and pistols. 3 members of the Bellamy Pirates pulled out their pistols and aimed at the apes to attack. Bang bang bang. 3 bullets hit the ape. The orangutan's reaction was really fast, and he fell down the moment the opponent aimed and pulled the trigger. Make the bullets fired by the opponent fall through. Although the apes are powerful in combat, they have not yet reached the point where they can resist the bullets fired by the opponent. So early prediction is the most important. After successfully dodging the pistol attacks of 3 members of the Bellamy Pirates, the ape quickly stood up again. He quickly rushed in front of the 3 of them. Ape boxing double uppercut. The ape's left arm assumes a left hook stance, and his right arm assumes a right uppercut stance. The 2 uppercuts attack together towards the arms. Pirate plant fruit. Pirate plant fruit. Author, Lee A Dream. Chapter 634. You can search for Pirate Plant Fruit popular in Baidu to find the latest chapters. However, the apes are huge, much larger than ordinary humans. This pair of uppercuts knocked 3 members of the Bellamy Pirates together. What? For it. Oh. The 2 members of the Bellamy Pirates on the far side were directly hit by uppercuts, and the one in the middle was caught by 2 people like a sandwich, and was crushed by the huge force of the ape and fractured all over his body. The orangutan threw away the 3 people who were clamped with both fists, and continued to look for the enemy to fight. The orangutan also fully demonstrated its strong hand-to-hand combat capabilities in this battle. You bastards, if you dare to kill my brothers, I will avenge them. The gorilla violently attacked the members of the Bellamy Pirates with its fists and feet. The members of the Bellamy Pirates were beaten to a pulp by the hateful orangutans. This gorilla is really difficult to deal with. The members of the Bellamy Pirates were constantly being knocked down, and they felt fear for a while when they saw the mighty orangutan. During the battle, the orangutan simply threw off his hat, revealing his long golden hair. Although the orangutan looks like a gorilla, it is human after all. This long golden hair was left by him since he was a child. According to him, this long blonde hair has not been cut once since he was born. This can also show how much the orangutan cherishes his exaggerated blonde hair. The orangutan's exposed golden hair is 10 meters long, which is simply exaggeratedly long. Okay, now let's take a look at my golden whip. The orangutan shook his head violently, and the long golden hair on the back of his head kept shaking. Buzzing. The orangutan's long golden hair flicked around like a long whip. There are more than a dozen members of the Bellamy Pirates around. These members of the Bellamy Pirates were whipped by the long golden hair thrown off by the orangutan. What? Run away quickly. Hair can actually be used as a weapon. This gorilla is really amazing. The members of the Bellamy pirates fled in panic. Some members of the Bellamy pirates took out their pistols and wanted to shoot, but were hit by the orangutan with long golden hair like a whip in the hand, causing his pistol to be knocked out. Under the large-scale attack of the orangutans, groups of members of the Bellamy pirates were knocked down. After Zorro got on the back of the ghost ship, he was finally able to use the 3 samurai swords together on the sea. 3 swords and flowing cattle needles. Zorro used 3 katana swords simultaneously, stabbing the Bellamy pirates with fatal blows like horns. Fugue. 8 consecutive members of the Bellamy pirates were stabbed. Some were stabbed in the throat, and some were stabbed in the heart. These mortally injured members of the Bellamy pirates fell on the back of the heavy submarine hull under their feet. After a large number of members were killed by Sauron's lightning attack, the remaining members of the Bellamy pirates were so frightened that they quickly lay down on the ship and pretended to be dead. But this was not spared. Although Zorro was unwilling because of their exhaustion, more than a dozen other surviving members of the Aruyama United Army also came to the back of the ghost ship, and they killed them full of anger. These surviving remnants. Sanji swam from the sea to the side of the heavy submarine Ghost, and he quickly jumped onto the back of the heavy submarine. Once on the back of the Ghost heavy submarine, Sanji was attacked by members of the Bellamy pirates. 7 members of the Bellamy pirates aimed their pistols at Sanji and fired. Bang 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 bang. The bullets fired at Sanji. Sanji's figure is extremely flexible, and he dodged in time the moment the opponent pulled the trigger. These bullets all fell through the cracks. How could this happen? How can this guy be so flexible? Able to dodge pistol shots? The members of the Bellamy pirates said in horror. Sanji's flexible body is not only powerful in their eyes, it can even be said to be terrifying. Sanji quickly jumped among the 7 members of the Bellamy pirates. He put his hands on the ground, spread his feet and began to spin and kick. Banquet table kicking package. Sanji's feet quickly rotated degrees and kicked around. Dong 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 dong. All 7 members of the Bellamy pirates were kicked by Sanji. Sanji quickly stood upright again. 4 of the members of the Bellamy pirates who were kicked down stood up again. Sanji rushed over quickly, kicking and kicking continuously. First meet. Sanji kicked a member of the Bellamy pirates in the head, and the member of the Bellamy pirates flew out. Belly. Sanji kicked another member of the Bellamy pirates in the abdomen, causing him to fly into the sea. Kick against etiquette. Sanji kicked a member of the Bellamy pirates into the sky from below. In the end, there was only one member of the Bellamy pirates left, and he was so frightened that he collapsed on the hull of the ship. Sanji gave him a disdainful look and said, "Get out of here." The member of the Bellamy pirates quickly rolled into the sea on the side of the Ghost's hull. These members of the Bellamy pirates faced Sanji as an enemy. They were lucky. Sanji used his feet to fight. This kind of hand-to-hand combat will not cause fatal damage with every blow. While everyone was fighting hard, the King of Ninja was harvesting the lives of the members of the Bellamy pirates at an even more terrifying speed. The King of Ninja uses 2 gauntlet hooks with both hands, and with his own ghostly footwork, he fights with the members of the Bellamy pirates. Kill him. Bang bang. With 2 gunshots, 2 bullets were fired. The Ninja King quickly dodged like a ghost, and the 2 bullets hit the shell of the ship below. The 2 members of the Bellamy pirates who attacked the Ninja King were shocked, and they were both terrified of the Ninja King's whereabouts. Where is he? It's as fast as disappearing. While the 2 members of the Bellamy pirates were still in shock, a figure suddenly appeared between them. At the same time, two metal claws with cold light cut their throats. Puff puff. Blood spurted from their necks. The two fell to the ground with convulsions all over their faces. They couldn't believe how the Ninja King attacked them until they died. It was as if ghosts were really fighting with them. The consciousness of life quickly disappeared from the eyes of the two people. Pirate Plant Fruit. Pirate Plant Fruit. Author, Lee A Dream. Chapter 635. You can search for Pirate Plant Fruit popular in Baidu to find the latest chapters. The gauntlet hooks on the hands of the Ninja King, which resembled two metal claws, were covered with blood. In terms of speed and strength, coupled with the martial arts of the King of Ninjas, these members of the Bellamy Pirates seemed to be fighting ghosts. After the King of Ninja killed the two members of the Bellamy Pirates, another member of the Bellamy Pirates nearby was cornered. He swung a dagger and stabbed the King of Ninja in the back. When the dagger in his hand almost touched the Ninja King's back, the Ninja King's body suddenly jumped into the air. In mid-air, the gauntlet hooks of the Ninja King's hands crossed across the neck of the Bellamy Pirates member. Puff. The Bellamy Pirates member's head flew up. The attack by the King of Ninja just now cut off the head of this member of the Bellamy Pirates. The Ninja King fell to the ground, and at the same time, the opponent's headless corpse fell to the ground with blood spurting from its neck. The King of Ninjas continues the fight by swinging his two-handed gauntlet hooks. With Mont Blanc, Orangutan, Zoro, Sanji, and the King of Ninja as the main force, and assisted by more than a dozen surviving Aruyama United Army crew members, everyone quickly removed the large number of people who came out of the ghost-heavy submarine. The members of the Bellamy Pirates were eliminated. More than 80 members of the crew of the Bellamy Pirates who came out of it were killed. While everyone was fighting bravely, suddenly a figure jumped out of the hatch of the heavy submarine ghost. Zoro, Sanji, and the ape quickly looked at this figure. The person who jumped out was a man of average stature, and his appearance was also very ordinary, neither mighty nor unique. But he has a tattoo of the number 21 on his forehead. I see, the leaders of the Ape Mountain United Army are all here, Shuit said after seeing Mont Blanc. Mont Blanc looked at Shuit and said, it seems that you can be considered a senior cadre of the Bellamy Pirates. But since Bellamy and his pirates want to attack us, then we have to fight to the death. Hewitt looked at Mont Blanc and said, I am the chef of the Bellamy Pirates, Hewitt. I also know that it is impossible to escape from this situation. But I want to say that as a man, he should dare to duel. How about I duel with you? Faced with the current bad situation, Shuit challenged Mont Blanc to a duel. Mont Blanc looked at Shuit. How could he, as the commander-in-chief of the Sarushan United Army, retreat under such circumstances? Okay, I'll challenge you. Mont Blanc said in a calm tone. Everyone present stopped fighting, whether it was on the side of the Aruyama United Army or the Bellamy Pirates. Mont Blanc wants to fight to the death with Scoot. The fierce sea breeze kept blowing on the two of them. There was a big battle here today, and a storm was rising in the sky. The waves in the sea are also rough. Mont Blanc and Shuit are about to have a decisive battle. The people around them distanced themselves from the two of them. Mont Blanc and Shuit were both in fighting postures. Chestnut boxing. Mont Blanc was the first to strike. Fighting boxing. Hewitt also rushed towards Mont Blanc. A burly man with a chestnut head and a man with the number 21 tattooed on his forehead rushed together to fight. The two people exchanged fists and feet, and the violent beating sound shook the surrounding air with bursts of sound. Boom 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 boom. Fists, feet, arms, legs, and even heads have become weapons. What surprised everyone was that Zaid's fighting ability was not too bad and he was actually able to fight Mont Blanc. Sanji looked at Jiuyite. He was also surprised that the head chef had such a strong fighting ability. But he is also a chef with strong fighting ability. Is it possible that all cooks in this world are prone to violence? It's really powerful beyond imagination. Sanji said with emotion. There was a fierce battle between Mont Blanc and Shuit, and the two sides fought inextricably. Boss, beat him to death. The orangutan clenched his fist and said for fun. Knock him away. The orangutan also said in high spirits. Other people who watched the battle, like Sauron and the King of Ninjas, could already see some clues. Although Shuit himself was very powerful in fighting, he was unable to defeat Mont Blanc at all. Mont Blanc gradually gained the upper hand with his powerful chestnut boxing skills. Litzy boxing continuous punch. Mont Blanc continued to attack fiercely with both fists, and the intensive fists hit Shuit's body. Dong 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 dong. Shuit's body was hit intensively by fists. Although he blocked with his arms and legs, there were still many punches hitting his chest and abdomen. Boom! A heavy punch hit Shuit on the head, and he was about to lie down under the force of Mont Blanc's fist. However, Shuit managed to stabilize his feet and did not lie down. Mont Blanc seized this opportunity, he suddenly raised his right leg. Chestnut fist whirlwind kick. This leg was mixed with the wind force generated by tearing the air, and swept towards Shuit at an extremely fast speed coupled with Mont Blanc's long and straight legs. Shuit had just received a bunch of heavy punches and hadn't fully stabilized. He couldn't bear this leg. Boom! Shuit was hit by a tornado leg kick from Mont Blanc. He rolled out of the whole body, and finally hit the periscope tower of the Ghost Heavy submarine. Played well. The ape shouted excitedly. Well done, boss! Exclaimed the orangutan happily. Mont Blanc quickly took advantage of this opportunity to approach Shuit. Litzy fist explosive fist. Mont Blanc's right fist was mixed with astonishing force. He followed his right arm and swung it a few times before hitting the head of Shuit, who had not yet stood up. Shuit suddenly blocked the attack with his left arm in front of his head. Boom! Click! There was a huge physical blow and the sound of bones breaking. Shuit's left arm, which he used to block, was broken. Forward! At this time, Shuit suddenly took out a small bomb in his right hand. This bomb is oval in shape and has organs on it. The mechanism had been opened, and white smoke came out for a while. Hey, hey, you can bury yourself here with me, Shuit said in a low voice. After seeing this, Mont Blanc hurried to seize the small bomb in Shuit's hand. Pirate Plant Fruit. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Pirate Plant Fruit. Author, Lee A Dream. Chapter 636. You can search for Pirate Plant Fruit popular in Baidu to find the latest chapters. Suddenly Zaid actually opened his mouth and swallowed it in one breath. Gudong. Shuit actually swallowed this small oval bomb. Mont Blanc's expression changed immediately. He could foresee that once this small bomb exploded, no one around him would be spared. Let's go to hell together, Shuit roared in a low voice. Humph! Mont Blanc suddenly lifted the seriously injured Shuit up. Don't worry, who wants to follow you? Mont Blanc exerted all his strength with his arms and bent his legs. With his whole body, he threw the raised Shuit into the sea around the ghost. Go to hell! Following Mont Blanc's voice, Shuit flew into the sea. Thump! Shuit fell into the sea. Boom! A piercing explosion sounded, and Shuit detonated in the sea water. The violent explosion tore his body from his stomach into pieces, and broke through the sea surface, splashing huge waves. When the waves mixed with flesh and blood fell, Mont Blanc looked towards the sea. Finally got rid of him, Mont Blanc said. After a fierce fight, Mont Blanc finally eliminated Zaid. The boss won, Man Ape said excitedly. As expected of our boss, the orangutan said cheerfully. Long live the commander-in-chief. The crew of more than a dozen surviving Ape Mountain Allied forces also cheered together. Mont Blanc looked at everyone, and his eyes moved to the more than 10 remaining members of the Bellamy pirates on the back of the ship. When these members of the Bellamy pirates saw Mont Blanc, they all felt chills running down their spines. "We are willing to surrender." The dozen or so remaining members of the Bellamy pirates knelt down and begged for mercy. Mont Blanc looked disdainfully at these enemies who had no will to resist, and he was silent for a moment. "You all get lost," Montblanc scolded sharply. "Yes, yes." The remaining members of the Bellamy pirates were so frightened that they jumped into the sea and swam away. After these enemies escaped, Mont Blanc looked towards the north of the giant offshore dock. At this time, the heavy submarine Ghost, which floated to the surface of the sea, happened to be to the west of the giant offshore dock. But here you can see the powerful warships of the Bellamy pirates in the north of the giant sea dock constantly attacking. The giant offshore dock was severely damaged by the opponent's powerful firepower. The 5 powerful warships with the Bello as the core are equipped with long-range artillery and anti-ship torpedoes, possessing astonishing destructive power. Although this submarine was destroyed, there is still a powerful fleet to deal with. Montblanc said earnestly. "How can we destroy these 5 warships? We have just consumed a lot of time bombs. No one can say whether the remaining ones can destroy these warships." The orangutan looked at the 5 main surface warships of the Bellamy pirates and said, "Injuring the Ghost just now and forcing it to float to the surface of the sea consumed a lot of time bombs from everyone. And when fighting the enemy Frogman team before, dozens of members of the Ape Mountain United Army who were carrying time bombs were killed, and the time bombs they were carrying also sank into the depths of the sea with them." After the orangutan looked at the heavy submarine Ghost under his feet, a flash of inspiration suddenly appeared in his mind. "Boss, I have an idea." "Can we use this submarine?" said the orangutan to Mont Blanc. "You said using this submarine." Mont Blanc also suddenly realized after looking at the Ghost heavy submarine at his feet. Sanji, Zoro, and the Ninja King also looked at the heavy submarine at their feet. "Well, it's a good idea indeed. There may be weapons in it." Sanji also said. "Like this, let's go in and have a look. Maybe there really are weapons we need." Mont Blanc said. The Ghost heavy submarine can imagine how many powerful weapons it is equipped with just by virtue of its huge size. If these weapons are used, they must be very valuable. Everyone entered through the hatch that the enemies opened just now. Everyone entered the interior of the Ghost heavy submarine from the hatch. First, they reached a central passage that runs through the entire interior of the Ghost, and then after walking for a while, they reached the end of the passage. There is a hatch at the end, but it's also open. "What the hell is in here?" Mont Blanc took the lead in pushing open the hatch and entered inside. "I saw here is a large cabin. There is transparent tempered glass on the front and top. In other words, from here you can see the scene ahead and above. Looking at the facilities in the cabin, I saw that the facilities here have various machinery and navigation equipment, as well as a rudder that can control the direction of the submarine. It seems that this is the command room of this submarine," said the ape. "Since this is the command room, let's see if we can find something like operating instructions for the weapons on this submarine," said the orangutan. Everyone began to search in this command room. The orangutan walked to a console, and saw some communication devices and some important switches from here. "Look here, what I found," the orangutan said excitedly. Mont Blanc, Sanji, and the others came over quickly. Orangutan found a lot of introductions about weapon options in front of this console. The weapons and equipment corresponding to the controls are indicated next to the switch. There are also anti-ship rockets here, the orangutan said in surprise. "Anti-ship rockets, I have never heard of this kind of weapon," Mont Blanc also said with a suspicious expression. "No matter what kind of weapon it is, just use it once and then it will be fine," Sanji said. Okay. Let's use it then. Mont Blanc said. The group decided to use a weapon called an anti-ship rocket. However, according to the instructions on the console, the weapon called anti-ship rocket still needs to flow to the surface of the sea before it can be used. Now, because of the previous battle, the heavy submarine happened to flow to the surface of the sea, so it happened to be able to use this weapon. After pressing the mechanism, it was on the back of the hull of the heavy submarine Ghost. Crunch. There was a harsh metal rubbing sound. The hull on the back of the Ghost heavy submarine opened automatically. Pirate plant fruit. Pirate plant fruit. Author, Lee A Dream. Chapter 637. You can search for Pirate plant fruit popular in Baidu to find the latest chapters. Then, accompanied by a rough mechanical operation sound, a large weapon launch pad rose up from below. This large weapons launch pad is topped by a rotating heavy rocket launcher. There are 4 heavy rockets on it. Each heavy rocket is 1 meter in diameter and 7 meters long. They are much larger than anti-ship torpedoes. The front end of the rocket presents a pointed shell shape. The rocket launcher has a large periscope-like aiming device. In the Wraith's command room. After the mechanism is pressed, the weapon launch pad rises. However, the weapons above need to be manipulated near the bottom of the launch pad. Because there is still a need to aim. The mechanism here can only open the hull of the ship to allow the weapons to be launched. The platform rises. Mont Blanc said. I'll go. Sanji said. I'll go. The orangutan also said. Mont Blanc looked at the two of them and said, I'm sorry to bother you too. Sanji and the orangutan hurriedly left the command room. The two entered the central passage, and then found the passage leading to the area where the weapon launch pad was located. In the command room just now, there is also a structural diagram of the internal structure of the Ghost, so that they can know how to go. Arrive at the weapons launch pad, which is under the heavy rocket launcher. The two found some operating devices here, as well as a phone bug communicating with the command room. There is a periscope below the aiming device in the operating device, and it is connected to the upper side from here for aiming. There is also a steering mechanism to adjust the direction, and a launch mechanism. These operating devices are not complicated, and Sanji and the orangutan quickly figured them out. Sanji uses the phone bug here to communicate with the command room. An anti-ship rocket has been successfully operated here. Sanji spoke to the command room with a phone bug. Okay, you guys are ready to attack. Came Mont Blanc's voice. Okay, leave it to us. Sanji and the orangutan under the weapon launch pad prepare to target the Bellamy pirates' fleet for an attack. Boom. At this moment, the giant offshore dock suddenly began to tilt violently toward the north. After accumulating a lot of astonishing damage, this behemoth finally couldn't hold back and began to sink violently towards the north. Of course, this sinking is not a complete sinking, but the huge offshore dock itself is tilting violently towards the north. The northern part of the hull is sinking, while the southern part of the hull is tilted up. Sanji and the orangutan, who were operating the weapon launch pad, saw this situation, and their faces changed drastically. Damn it, Miss Robin, Miss Nami and the goddess are still up there. Sanji said angrily. It's not good, we need to attack quickly to contain the enemy. The orangutan said anxiously. Sanji and the orangutan operated this weapon launch pad together, aiming at the Bellamy pirates' fleet. The target was naturally the huge and most conspicuous flagship, the new Vichy Bello. This 200-meter-long super-heavy warship became the target of anti-ship rockets. Aiming completed, the enemy's largest warship. Sanji said as he operated the scope. Good anti-ship rocket, launch. The orangutan pressed the first of the 4 firing mechanisms. One of the 4 anti-ship rockets on the weapon launch pad suddenly emitted violent white smoke from its tail, and produced an amazing propulsion. The anti-ship rocket began to shoot out from the weapon's launch pad. Whoosh. The tail of the anti-ship rocket that pierced the sky pulled out a white smoke trail, heading straight in the direction of the new Vicky Bello. This shocking rocket made everyone see it. Whether it's the people on the Ghost, the people on the top deck of the giant tilted offshore dock, or the people on the Bellamy pirates' warship. On the deck of the new Vicky Bello, Bellamy, Eddie and others saw an anti-ship rocket flying through the sky towards the super heavy warship they were on. How could this happen? Bellamy looked in disbelief at the anti-ship rocket flying towards it at an astonishing speed. Anti-ship rockets tore through the air and crashed onto the deck of the new Veg Bello. Boom rumble. An earth-shattering explosion sounded. Anti-ship rockets hit the deck of the new Witch Bello in the middle of the hull. The huge explosion coupled with the impact force of the anti-ship rocket itself penetrated and exploded the deck made of steel. More than a dozen crew members near the center of the explosion were instantly reduced to fly ash. People on other decks were knocked down by the huge impact. Even Eddie beside Bellamy was washed down. Bellamy herself avoided being knocked down by the impact of the explosion by virtue of her strong body. This is the power of anti-ship rockets hitting warships. I have never officially used this weapon before. Bellamy was also shocked and said. Because Bellamy was Don Quixote da Flamingo's subordinate, he used this relationship to obtain top-notch advanced weapons specially made by the world's largest military power, Dressrosa Military Industrial Company, which are these warships. Because since these advanced warships came into existence, many advanced weapons have not been used because it is difficult to encounter enemies that can be countered. For example, these anti-ship rockets. Now after being hit by such an anti-ship rocket, even the new Witch Bello has suffered such serious damage. The flames and smoke from the explosion of the anti-ship rocket continued. Eddie, who had just been knocked down by the blast, stood up again. He quickly issued orders to the crew. Quickly put out the fire and treat the injured. Bellamy was furious when he saw that his favorite Bello, the new Vicky, was under such attack. The new Vicky Bello is not only the largest and most powerful warship of the Bellamy pirates, it is also the flagship of the pirate group's fleet. Bellamy also likes it very much. Bellamy turned her head and looked in the direction where the anti-ship rockets were fired. He saw the Ghost floating on the surface of the sea in that room. Could it be that the sudden interruption of contact between Hewitt and the others just now was because the Ghost was taken away by the enemy? Bellamy said with confusion. And more importantly, the Ghost is equipped with this powerful anti-ship rocket. Even the warships of the Navy headquarters will not have such special advanced weapons. Eddie on the side also looked at the Ghost in the distance. Boss Bellamy, I'm afraid that's the case. Eddie said worriedly. Bellamy looked at the Ghost fiercely, at the powerful submarine that no longer belonged to him. Pirate Plant Fruit. Pirate Plant Fruit. Author, Lee A Dream. Chapter 638. You can search for Pirate Plant Fruit popular in Baidu to find the latest chapters. Okay, it seems we need to sink the Ghost that was taken away by the enemy before we talk about anything else. Bellamy made a decision. He took out his phone bug and started communicating. On the right side of the new Vicky Bello are the heavy warships Guardsman 3 and Guardsman 4. On the deck of Guard No. Rebus and Monty saw the messy scene of the new Vicky Bello after being hit by an anti-ship rocket. How could this happen? Rebus said with a twitching expression on his face. The new Vicky Bello will actually be hit by the opponent. Monty also said in shock. Other crew members were also shocked when they saw the intense fireworks on the New York Bello. What happened to the new Vicky Bello that was hit by something? How could the enemy have such powerful weapons? Aren't those terrifying forts destroyed by Boss Bellamy? Idiot, don't look at the direction carefully. It's coming from the sea to the west of the giant offshore dock. Really, there's a submarine there. Why does it look so much like the Ghost? The crew members were shocked and talking a lot. At this moment, the phone bug carried by Libas suddenly rang. Pula pula. Hey, Boss Bellamy. Any orders? Rebus picked up the phone bug. Rebus, now we can confirm that the ghost has been hijacked by the enemy. What you need to do now is to sink the ghost that has been hijacked by the enemy. Bellamy gave the order very simply. Is it really a sinking? Rebus confirmed again. Yes, it was completely sunk. Bellamy emphasized again. Leave it to me, Boss Bellamy. Rebus said firmly. Both sides then hung up the phone bug. Rebus looked at the ghost in the distance again. The ghost was actually hijacked. Rebus said. Monty came over from the side. He looked at the phantom and said, I didn't expect that the phantom would be hijacked. I don't know what happened to Should. But Rebus looked very disdainful and said, that kid's I eat was either killed or caught. Waste is waste anyway. There is no other way, just destroy the ghost. Monty looked at Rebus again and said, how is Boss Bellamy not hurt? Rebus glanced at her and said, you don't have to ask how much damage the Boss Bellamy can inflict on him. Bellamy is extremely powerful, which is well known within the Bellamy Pirates. Hey, I also care about the boss. Monty said helplessly. Okay, now Guard No and Guard No are going to sink the hijacked ghost. Rebus officially issued the order. Squire 3 and Squire 4 set out to sink the ghost. On the ghost, Sanji and the orangutan who were responsible for operating the weapons launch pad both saw the shocking power of an anti-ship rocket attack that had just been launched. What a huge explosion it was just now. The orangutan said in shock. This is really fast. Let you attack a ship carrying ladies. This is your punishment. Sanji said excitedly. This handsome blonde with curly eyebrows took out a new cigarette and put it in his mouth, then took out his lighter and elegantly lit it for himself. The largest warship that was attacked just now is most likely the enemy's flagship. Let's continue attacking that warship. The orangutan said after observing. Okay. Sanji said. Boom 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 boom. Just when the two men wanted to continue the attack, suddenly a burst of gunfire rang out. 4 heavy artillery shells flew over and hit the hull of the heavy submarine Ghost floating on the sea. Boom 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 boom. There was an astonishing explosion, and the hull of the Ghost trembled violently. Whether it was Sanji and the orangutan under the weapons launch pad, or Mont Blanc and Zoro in the command room, they were all knocked down by the concussion generated by the explosion. On the deck of Guard No, Rebus looked at the Ghost, which was hit by long-range artillery. A satisfied smile appeared on his face. And behind him is a heavy fort, billowing white smoke from the huge barrels of the 2 long-range artillery of the heavy fort. The shelling just now was just an attack from the 4 long-range artillery pieces of Guard No. Rebus picked up the phone bug again and gave an order to Guard No. Guard No. Shell the Ghost. Rebus ordered to the other end of the phone bug. As you command, Rebus-sama, said the person on the other side of the phone. Guard No marched to the left rear position of Guard No. But shelling was still possible here. On the deck of Guard, 2 heavy turrets aimed their long-range guns at the Ghost. Each heavy turret has 2 long-range artillery. Fire! The captain of Guard issued an attack order to the 2 heavy turrets. Boom 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 boom. The long-range artillery of the 2 heavy turrets opened fire. 4 heavy artillery shells with a diameter of 1 meter were fired from the 4 long-range artillery. 4 heavy shells hit the Ghost again. Boom 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 boom. The earth-shattering explosion was transmitted from the hull of the Ghost to the surrounding sea and sky. This sturdy heavy submarine shook continuously during the explosion. Oops, this won't work. We need to fight back quickly, said the orangutan under the weapon launch pad. Sanji quickly took charge of targeting the incoming enemy warship. He aimed the scope at Guard No. At the same time, a mechanical device was used to adjust the steering of the weapon launch pad. The orangutan is always ready to press the launch mechanism and launch the remaining anti-ship rockets. Okay, let's launch now. Sanji said urgently. Emission. The orangutan quickly pressed the firing mechanism. On the weapon launch pad raised on the back of the ghost ship. Whoosh. Another huge anti-ship rocket was fired from the weapon launch pad. The tail of this anti-ship rocket ejected a heat wave and rushed straight to the bow of the Guard No. On the deck of Guard No, Rebus, Mani, and many other crew members were so frightened that they lay down on the deck when they saw the anti-ship rockets flying towards them. This anti-ship rocket with a pointed tip tore through the air, and flew towards the heavy warship No Guard at extreme speed. Boom rumble. The bow of Guard No was hit by an anti-ship rocket, and after the anti-ship rocket hit the bow of Guard No, a shocking explosion occurred. After the anti-ship rocket hit the bow of the ship, the steel and hardwood on the bow were twisted and exploded by the triple damage of force, high temperature, and explosion impact. Pirate Plant Fruit. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Pirate Plant Fruit. Author, Lee A Dream. Chapter 639. You can search for Pirate Plant Fruit popular in Baidu to find the latest chapters. Shards of steel and hardwood flew everywhere. The entire Guard 3 heavy warship trembled violently. Flames and thick smoke covered the bow area of Guard No and the middle and rear area of the deck. Fortunately, there was a strong sea breeze in the sky, which caused the thick smoke to be quickly washed away. Moreover, the bodyguard No itself is made of steel as the main structure, and the wood used in some of the above wood structures is also not very flammable, so that the bodyguard No will not be burned and damaged by the subsequent hazards such as combustion and thick smoke produced by the explosion. Guard No was still disrupted by the attack. Damn it, I actually got hit by an anti-ship rocket so close. Rebus got up from the deck and looked at the ghost. It really scared me to death. Manny said with lingering fear. The other crew members also stood up one after another. Guard No was attacked just now, knocking down everyone on the deck and even inside the cabin. Rebus looked at the ghost and quickly ordered, quickly use anti-ship torpedoes to sink this hateful hijack submarine. The crew of Guard 3 quickly aimed the 4 quadruple anti-ship torpedo tubes equipped on this heavy warship at the immobile ghost. On the ghost, after successfully attacking Guard No, Orangutan and Sanji were about to continue their attack. The blow just now only damaged the bow of the ship, and it didn't have a fatal effect on the heavy warship as a whole. Next, I will aim at the underside of the heavy warship's hull and try to sink it. Sanji said to the orangutan. Okay, aim quickly. The orangutan said full of fighting spirit. Sanji aimed the aiming device at the draft below the front of the body of the Sentinel-3. Aim completed. Sanji said. Launch anti-ship rockets. The orangutan pressed the launch mechanism again. On top of the weapon launch pad on the back of the ghost's hull, a heat wave emerged from the tail of the third anti-ship rocket, pushing the huge rocket out. The anti-ship rocket, whose front end resembled a cone, hit the draft of the front end of the Guard hull. Boom rumble. Guard No experienced another violent explosion. The heavy warship trembled violently. Accompanied by violent tremors, the crew who originally wanted to use the anti-ship torpedo tubes were also knocked down by the tremors. The attack of Sanji and the orangutan made them survive once. Otherwise, a total of 16 anti-ship torpedoes were fired from 4 quadruple anti-ship torpedo tubes, so the power can be described as terrifying. Beneath the Wraith's weapon launch pad, Orangutan and Sanji seized the opportunity and decided to strike one last time. However, Mont Blanc, Sauron, the King of Ninjas, the Apes, and more than a dozen members of the Aru Mountain United Army crew who were originally in the command room quickly escaped from the hatch on the back of the ghost's hull. They all knew that this heavy submarine couldn't move at all, and if it continued to stay, it might really become a giant steel coffin that sank to the bottom of the sea. Now we need to retreat as soon as possible. Montblanc stood on the back of the Ghost and said to everyone. When everyone was about to leave here, they all saw the weapon launch pad rising from the back of the Ghost ship. There is still the last anti-ship rocket on it that has not been fired. Whoosh! Suddenly there was a loud roar. The tail of this last anti-ship rocket sprayed out an astonishing heat wave, and the entire huge rocket shot towards the heavy warship No Guard of the Bellamy pirates. Finally, it hit the lower part of the front end of Guard No's hull. It was hit by an anti-ship rocket just now, and now it was hit again. Boom rumble. The huge explosive power of the anti-ship rockets tore apart the steel armor of the Guard hull, and flooded it with seawater. The front end of the heavy warship's hull began to tilt toward the sea ahead because of the large amount of water poured into it. Guard No has already been severely injured. Is this the power of anti-ship rockets? The orangutan said in shock. Really powerful. Montblanc said with emotion. What a powerful weapon. The development of weapons in this world is too fast now. Zorro said after looking at the seriously injured Guard No. Under the weapon launch pad, Orangutan and Sanji decided to leave after firing all the anti-ship rockets. In fact, some of the same anti-ship rockets were still stored inside the Ghost's hull, but the two stopped trying to load them. The first is that it's a hassle to load, and the second is that it's actually dangerous to stay here any longer. After all, the Ghost is an immobile submarine, it can only float here, which is equivalent to a living target. Sanji and the orangutan quickly arrived on the back of the Ghost ship. When the two people arrived here, they found that Sauron and Montblanc had already jumped into the sea and were swimming. Okay, let's get out of here quickly, Sanji said. Sanji and the orangutan put the breathing masks they carried on their faces back on. The two jumped into the sea water beside the Ghost together. Zorro, Montblanc, Sanji, the orangutan, the Ninja King, and more than a dozen Ape Mountain Alliance crew members quickly swam away from the Ghost. Everyone quickly distanced themselves from the severely damaged heavy submarine. On the third deck of the Guard, who was seriously injured by the anti-ship rocket attack. Rebus, Mani, and the crew are staggering. Although their casualties were not many, Guard No was seriously attacked, and the front of the heavy warship was severely damaged. The entire warship began to sink forward. The abominable Ghost. Rebus regained his footing and looked angrily at the heavy submarine Ghost. However, at this time, the body of Guard No itself was tilted seriously, and neither the long-range artillery of the heavy turret nor the quadruple anti-ship torpedo tubes could attack normally. Libasi took out the phone bug and dialed Guard No. Guard No. Hurry up and sink the Ghost with an anti-ship torpedo. Rebus gave an attack order to Guard No. As you command, Lord Rebus. Guard 4 then went into action. The heavy warship aimed its 4 quadruple anti-ship torpedo tubes at the Ghost heavy submarine. Aim at the Ghost and launch anti-ship torpedoes. The captain of Guard gave the order. The 4 quadruple anti-ship torpedo tubes on the body of the heavy warship No began to fire anti-ship torpedoes. Thump 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 thump. The anti-ship torpedo was shot from the quadruple torpedo launch tube, fell into the sea water, and then the propeller behind it rotated and swam quickly towards the Ghost. The Ghost floated motionless on the sea. The anti-ship torpedoes began to violently collide with the heavy submarine's hull. Pirate Plant Fruit. Pirate Plant Fruit. Author, Lee A Dream. Chapter 640. You can search for Pirate Plant Fruit popular in Baidu to find the latest chapters. Boom, 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 boom. The Ghost was hit by a large number of anti-ship torpedoes. This sturdy steel submarine could not hold up under the attack of the huge destructive anti-ship torpedoes. The solid hull was torn apart by the huge explosive force. Sea water flooded into this heavy submarine surprisingly. The anti-ship torpedoes tore the steel shell of the Ghost and shattered the keel. The power room, ammunition warehouse, living supplies warehouse, and command room inside the Ghost were all severely damaged. The sturdy hull of the Ghost was also riddled with holes under the intensive anti-ship torpedo blasts. Sanji, Zoro, and Mont Blanc, who had already distanced themselves by swimming, were all looking at the Ghost, which was being attacked by powerful anti-ship torpedoes. "What a horrible explosion!" Mont Blanc said with a sigh. "If you continue to stay there at night, the consequences will be unimaginable." The orangutan had a terrified expression on his face. "Fortunately, we left in time." Sanji looked at the horror of the Ghost after being attacked and said, "Boom, boom, 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 boom." The Ghost was constantly attacked by dense anti-ship torpedoes, and this heavy submarine was devastated under the fierce attack. Guard fired 4 quadruple anti-ship torpedo tubes, a total of 16 anti-ship torpedoes. Under this huge destructive force, the hull of the Ghost completely sank into the billowing waves amidst the explosion and thick smoke. There are also some small eddies around it caused by the sinking of the Ghost into the sea. This heavy submarine equipped with powerful weapons was finally completely lost to the sea. Rebus on the deck of Guard No was very happy when he saw it. "Humph, I finally got out my bad words and let you kidnap me. Now it's better, let's sink to the bottom of the sea together, ha ha ha." Rebus roared happily. "I'm afraid it's not that simple," Mani on the side said suddenly. She was observing with a sophisticated telescope at this time. She saw the Ghost in the sea far away, and some people were swimming in the sea. "It seems some people escaped from the Ghost," Mani said. "What?" Rebus looked at the sea near the Ghost, and he trembled with anger. Rebus quickly snatched a precision telescope from a crew member and used it to observe the situation in the sea near the Ghost. In the telescope, it was possible to see some people swimming. "These bastards!" Rebus said angrily. Mani also continued to observe the people who escaped from the Ghost. She said, "We followed the orders of Boss Bellamy and sank the Ghost. What should we do next?" "Rebus, after all, you are responsible for commanding these 2 heavy warships. Yes, you should give the order." Rebus was so angry that he wanted to stomp his feet, and he put down the binoculars. Rebus looked at the Guard No that he was on. The heavy warship Guard 3 is now severely damaged, and the hull is heavily tilted forward. Even after sealing off the cabin filled with seawater, it is temporarily difficult for this heavy warship to move. "It seems that only Guard No is left to fight," Rebus said. He used the phone bug to quickly contact Guard No. "Guard No. Now approaching Guard No. The personnel on this warship are going to your place temporarily." Rebus used the phone bug to communicate with Guard No. "Obey." The captain of Guard No on the opposite side of the phone bug replied. The heavy warship Sentinel-4 began to approach the heavily damaged Sentinel-3. Guard No arrived at the right side of Guard No and set up some telescopic ladders from Guard No. These ladders are simple but strong, and can accommodate people to walk through. Rebus, Mani, and the crew members on Guard No walked to Guard No through these telescopic ladders. On deck of the guards, "Master Libasi, all the surviving crew members of Guard No are here now." Report from the captain of Guard. "Okay, now prepare to chase down the enemy personnel who escaped from the Ghost," Rebus said. Mani looked at Rebus at this time and asked, "What about Guard No?" "Although this heavy warship is damaged, it is still the core asset of the Bellamy Pirates fleet after all." Rebus looked at the injured Guard Number 3 and said, "Stay here for now. Anyway, there is no time to repair this warship now. Destroy the enemy and then consider repairing it." Mani and the captain of Guard No could see that Rebus' eyes were bloodshot when he spoke. Rebus is known for his savage character among the Bellamy pirates. When he encounters the object of his hatred, Rebus can attack the opponent like a crazy cow and will not stop until the opponent is eliminated. He puts even the arrogant leader of Bellamy to shame for that. "Okay, whatever you want," Mani said. Now Gardno begins to sweep and eliminate the remaining enemies that have sneaked into the sea. Rebus formally issued an order to the captain of Gardno. Obey. The captain of Gardno replied. Gardno began to pursue Sanji and Mont Blanc, who were swimming in the sea. On the top deck of the giant sea dock, Rog, Usopp, Luffy, and the goddess of springs are all standing on the top deck of the already severely tilted giant sea dock. Because the northern direction of the giant offshore dock was severely attacked, the hull in the northern direction of the giant offshore dock was riddled with heavy artillery shells and anti-ship torpedoes. A large amount of sea water poured in from the damaged hull rupture in the northern part of the giant sea dock. As a result, this behemoth began to tilt violently towards the north. Wow, the giant offshore dock is tilting so badly now. Usopp stood cautiously on the top deck and said. It's tilting so badly here. And it's still sinking. Roger felt the huge hull sinking slowly under his feet. Just now, the Bellamy pirates used an astonishingly violent attack to severely damage the giant offshore dock, making it difficult for this giant on the ocean to bear the damage, and began to sink obviously. No matter how many waterproof hatches there are in the cabins in the giant offshore dock, it cannot stop the sinking. After all, the giant offshore dock was too damaged. This behemoth became crumbling under the attack of heavy artillery shells and anti-ship torpedoes. There is no unsinkable ship in the world, and the same is true for the extremely strong and huge offshore docks. 2 battles with the security forces had severely damaged the giant offshore dock. The Bellamy pirates' current fierce attacks from anti-ship torpedoes and heavy artillery shells had caused the giant offshore dock to officially begin to sink. Pirate plant fruit.